morning, everybody. Welcome to another round of Coffee and Questions. And what's today's topic? I want to talk about these Pittsburgh 8-inch digital calipers. Now, I have a pair of these, and they look a little bit different. I'll show you a picture here in just a sec. Okay, now that pair I bought 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know. And to me, they work perfectly fine, but there's been some complaints about the new ones. And I actually recently in the club, one of the guys, when we were out at Harbor Freight, went ahead and bought this newer pair, this 8-inch digital pair. I like them. Truthfully, I would buy them again. There are some negatives and there's some workarounds on this. I mean, and how you can avoid, getting a pair that may not be what you thought. So we'll talk about that as we go through the questions and answers. We had our little discussion group. There's about 8 of us, and we always buy and look for good deals on stuff. And he had picked up these calipers, and I picked them up and played with them, and I'll give you my thoughts on them, and as well as the ones that I've had for years now. So let's switch over and let's get into the topic. All right, so let's talk about the customer review part of this first. 5 stars, there's 53 people. 4 stars, 22. 3, 10. Those are the 3 that I usually put together in my mind and start to think about if it's a tool worth buying. But I do read through the 1 star, the 2 star, and I belong to a couple of forums where we talk about Harbor Freight tools. But it has an 86% overall, favorable rating. A lot of it, of course, revolves around the price, then quality, ease to use, and great value. That's all, right here above me. Okay, let's do question and answer part of this. Well, the first question is, why did I choose the 8-inch when the 6 inches are around 20 bucks, less discount? You can get them actually much cheaper. Yeah, I didn't find them. I have a pair of older ones, probably 4 or 5 years old, and they slide nicely. They read well. For all the basic stuff that I use in my home garage, I don't need them super accurate like a pair of Starretts. If that's what you're looking for, you probably should save up your money and actually buy something else. What I found with those, when you close the calipers and you zero it, I mean, you could take 5 or 6 measurements, you can get multiple different readings, sometimes, hundreds of an error. Other people complain, 5 thousandths or more in error and stuff like that. And the whole slide on it is kind of rough. Looks like it was a rough machine. So out at the group, what one of the guys did is he took it off, the digital part of it, and he kind of deburred the edges with a file. And then he put like a little bit of oil, a little bit of wax, and smoothed out that surface with a rag. And then it seemed to slide fine back and forth. And I don't want to go through all of that. I just wanted something that was a fairly decent pair. It didn't have to be incredibly accurate. So these are the pair that I bought recently, and I haven't opened them up yet, but the guy in the club opened his up and started using them. Now, mine's a much older pair. It still works fine for rough basic measurements on steel, wood, and I measure like the inside hole, like on vessels that I make on my lathe, to be able to make like lidded containers or lidded boxes. So let me show you a picture of what I mean real quick. All right, that gives you an idea of off of the lathe, like that hole. I use these calipers, I measure the inside diameter, and then that gives me the outside, and I'm able to make those lidded boxes and lidded vessels. So for me, in terms of the rough kind of work and basic work that I do out of the garage, they work perfectly fine. If you're looking for something, super high precision, neither pair, may be what you want, but this definitely is a much better pair. I was fine. Look, at 30 bucks, less that 20% or 25 if you come across it once in a while discount. Yeah, this works fine for me. But the other pair, the 6-inch, no, I kind of let it go. I paid for a little bit better quality caliper. I would tell you these are, when you're out there, just pick both of them up, look at them, and you can make your own decision. Okay, a lot of the complaints rather revolve around that digital readout being not accurate. It can be off as much as 5 to 6 thousandths. If you're a machinist, like I said, you might want to save up your money and buy a Starrett or buy something much higher quality. This is, I mean, a good all-around caliper, like I keep saying, for me, for basic measurement. Now, one way you can do this is what we did when we were out there, when we went out as a group to look for deals and bargains, is I had a friend of mine, he went ahead to the counter, he bought it, he opened it up right away, he slid the calipers shut, made sure it was zeroed, then he turned around and he measured something, a piece of cardboard and different things, like 6, 7 times. Now, the first one, it was off. Okay, so here we are looking at the box, $29.99. Now, the associate knew that we were going to film this, and he didn't mind, and we told him we were going to open up the box and slide it out. He didn't care about that either, so we went ahead and, well, that's what we did. Let me show you some more of how we did it. Okay, so here I am, and I have the jaws all the way shut on this thing, and it's 1,000th off. Let's take a look. Right there. So I decided let's play around with it, and I pushed on it, and it went to 0. Roll it back, push it forward, and okay, it's still staying at 0. It doesn't have any burring on it that I can feel. I think the finish is pretty good, so I kind of disagree with some of the comments, but no, it feels okay. And I don't know, it rolls back and forth with the roller, pretty easy. Let's see, and back to 0. So this one so far seems to be the one I'm going to go ahead and buy. It's working good so far, and we'll test out a couple of them. A friend of mine opened up another box, so we'll look at his and we'll see what the differences are between mine and his. So hang on just a sec. Okay, here's his, and he's going to try to measure the thickness on this framing square. And what do we got? We got so 181, 182, 181, 182. Well, hold on. Or he's pushing on it, 182, 183. Okay, so let's take it off. Does it go to 0? Yep. Okay, let's put it back. Let's try it again. And we'll push on it here. Let's see. 0.206, 207, 211. Hold on, let me just adjust this a little bit. No, it's on there. Okay, so back to 0. We tried another one. This one we opened up is off by 1,000th. Not too bad. And it goes to 0 with just a gentle push. So we opened up several of these while we were out there. This one was off by 2,000ths when it was closed. And let's see if I can zoom in here. There we go. Give you a better view of it. And so we monkeyed around with several of these, like I said, before we picked any of the 2 out that we were going to buy. And so there it is. It's off by 2,000ths when it settles itself down. And let's see. Open it up. Let's close it. A little pressure behind that. And it still goes back to 2,000ths off. Like I said, not bad for general use. Okay, so again, I'm feeling it. The other pair. This is either the second or the third pair, I forgot. Still got a good finish on it. I don't feel any burring. I don't feel anything bad with the metal. Okay, so in opening the box out there at Harbor Freight, I did read through a lot of these reviews, and I picked up the calipers before he bought them, because a lot of people complained that the edges on this have burrs on them still, because it was, very rough machined, or it's got a rough finish along there. So one of the people, in the comments had taken it home, had deburred it. They put a little oil on there and played around and got it to where it slid very smoothly. But, you shouldn't have to go through that. Probably need better quality control, in terms of checking these things off before shipping. But it is a fix to it. I mean, to deburr it, but you shouldn't have to do it. I would tell you open up the box right there in the store, so you're not driving 20 miles back and forth or whatever the distance is, or just going through the hassle. Play around with them there in the store. That's my biggest advice. That's what we did. If you feel that there are burrs along this thing on the edges, you might want to pass on that one and, open up another one unless you want to fool around with it when you get home. It is possible to deburr it. It did work perfectly fine for the guy that wrote the review, after going through that. But I think you're hard pressed to find a decent pair of calipers at a $30, price that are digital. Like I said, if you're looking for something very high precision, this probably isn't for you. But if you're looking for something for just good basic measurements, like I use it on steel and like, the wood turnings and stuff like that in my garage, it works perfectly fine for me. If you're doing parts measurements and you've got to be that critical, in your measurement, like I said, this may not be the one for you, but that's just an overall opinion, and let's move on. How does it come? It comes with an extra battery, and it comes in a really nice storing case, actually. What do I think of the repeatability and the accuracy of it? I think it's okay. It's good for what it is. If you're looking for something that's going to be precise within a thousandth of an inch or something, these are not for you. I mean, it's that easy. Save up your money, and buy yourself a higher quality pair if you want something that precise. But like I said, for $24, I couldn't beat what this thing will do for me in, the rough, basic kind of stuff that I do. I read a comment in here where when another person got theirs home, they put just a little bit of silicone grease on the slide and it works perfect. And I thought, well, that's a good idea. All right, so let's conclude the discussion a little bit. So when we were out there, we took apart 2 different boxes of these. Let's say the 6-inch, the 8-inch, hands down, the 8-inch is much better. It's just better quality. Not that it's the best quality, because you still, like I said, should take apart the 8-inch one out of the package and take a look at it, close the calipers, let it zero, measure a few things, and see how much of a tolerance it holds. See if it's going to be satisfactory for you. Now, remember, the second one we got into, the second box, it held the calibration fine. That's the one you went ahead and bought. Is it a little bit rough in the slide? Yes, it is. But you can use a jeweler's file or any fine file, and you could deburr this real easy. You could use a little bit of lithium grease or some kind of an oil on the slides, and that'll improve the sliding of this thing. Now, those are good tips, and this is really good, actually for the price of $24. Like I said, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to find something, but remember, it's for basic generalized use. Want something high precision? Take a look around. You're going to spend more money, but for a digital set of calipers at $24, this works fine. Battery life, they say, can be bad on it. It drains the batteries quickly and easily. So I always like having a backup battery, out in my toolbox. And I don't always have to use the digital readout. It just depends on what I'm measuring or what I'm doing in my garage in terms of steel, woodwork, or whatever else. The decision's yours. In the end, I don't think it's a bad value. I think it's a good value. But I would definitely pick the 8-inch over the 6-inch. Hands down, I would. Okay, I'm the Home Handyman. This was a quick review. If you've got anything else to say about the calipers, go ahead and drop a comment below. Those are the 2 quirks, over the readout accuracy and over the sliding and it being roughly machined. But the rough machining part of it, you can kind of work around, like I said, with the deburring and the grease. The digital readout part, take them apart in the store like we did and try them out and make sure it's going to be satisfactory for you. And you might want to pick yourself up an extra pack of batteries, because the ones that come with it aren't the best in the world, but you might be able to find a higher quality battery. All right, I'm the Home Handyman. I hope you click subscribe. I hope you keep following me. Hit that notification bell. I'll see you on the next review or the next how-to project. Thank you, folks, very much. Bye-bye.